So what'd you think of last night's game, Brooks?
Having cold dough on the Commanders, they sold me so hard last night, dude.
I know. I mean, it looked kind of like it might have been a comeback there, but those Packers shut them down. But we got a lot to talk about today, so let's jump right into it.
Welcome to the greatest podcast on earth. Nothing agreed. We have a great show for you tonight, so stay tuned and buckle up.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Nothing Agreed. Back with the boys. Today, we have a lot to talk about. Week 2 of the NFL is already underway as we have just passed Thursday Night Football. But, Baron, I got to ask you, first of all, how was your sleep last night? That's the first thing I got to ask you. How was your sleep last night?
It was great. Well, I say that. It was good. Yeah, if you don't know what Brooks is talking about, I don't know if the VOD is up there on the Twitch, but we did our first ever live stream last night. No one was there, but it was fun. It was good practice, if nonetheless. But yeah, I was exhausted. I had a rough day before, but we decided to try out our skills at live recording during Thursday Night Football. So we were watching the Packers and the Commanders play last night. And what do you think about that game, Brooks?
Micah Parsons said it best, and I'm currently on the bandwagon. Just get us 20 points, and the defense can do the job. I mean, the defense looked great. Now, what I will say is, again, it is early in the NFL season. Let's see how the Lions do against the Bears. If the Lions have a good game, then I'll be like, this Packers defense is good, but the Lions have a bad game again. The Commanders weren't so good against the Giants on offense.
Right.
The Lions would then have a bad game. So even though those are good wins last year against teams that were in the playoffs, it'd be 2 games where they didn't have good offenses. So I'm a little more now looking towards Sunday at those 1 o'clocks, looking at that Lions-Bears, being like, if the Lions can put something together, then I'll compliment the Packers defense more. Still a good defense, but then it actually puts them to a real show.
Yeah, no, I agree with you for most of that. I would say we have to kind of wait and see what this Ben Johnson-less Lions offense looks like going up against the Bears. I mean, we know that's Ben Johnson's new team, and we know that they had a tight game against the Vikings, but I think that'll be able to give us a little bit more of a leeway to know where we're at with all this, because you're right, the Commanders' offense did not look good last night, and they didn't look phenomenal against the Giants. And granted, the Giants have a good defense. We've said that. And we're sitting here saying the Packers have a good defense. So it's not like they're going up against scrubs or anything. But, I mean, if you look at Jay and Daniels' numbers from last night, it wasn't great. It was, 40 attempts, 200-something yards. He had 2 touchdowns, but one of those came in garbage time, so we don't really count it. It was 3.5 yards per attempt or something like that, 2.9 yards per rushing attempt. So they had him in hell. Terry McLaurin kind of robbed the organization, if you ask me. I mean,
he's still coming back off an injury.
I guess that's true, but still,
yeah,
they kind of needed him to step up. I would have liked to see him play a little bit better in those big time situations. But Deebo Samuel, I mean, I think he's doing just about what we all would expect out of him, if not more, honestly. But I didn't think anyone expected him to revitalize his career with this team. But Austin Eckler, he looked to be pretty involved for the first part of it, at least. But yeah, I mean that defense just kind of wore him down.
Well, Austin Eckler is out for the season.
Yeah, that's what I said at first.
Yeah, well, it's the first part of the game, but I mean, he's part of most of the game. He got injured in that drive. They scored that garbage time touchdown. I needed one more reception from him, and he goes down, tears his Achilles, blows. But yeah, no, it was not a good showing for the offense for the Commanders, and it's 2 games back to back, like you said, where it's not good. I gotta say, it's still early in the season though, so not much to freak out about as much, but if I was a fan, I'd be freaking out. But the Packers are now the favorites to win the NFC according to betting odds. They are now the betting favorite to win the NFC championship and the favorite to go to the Super Bowl on the National Football Conference. Now, we all know where you stand on that. we all can see from right behind your left shoulder where you exactly stand on that. We know exactly on this podcast where you stand on that.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody watches live stream, we know where exactly you stand on that as well. Personally, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm on your side. I'm flabbergasted that they are the betting favorite to win the NFC Championship, considering that the Eagles did not lose many pieces when it comes to that offense and defense. And
well, they lost a good amount of defensive pieces. I mean, if you look at our starting defensive players from last year to this year, we're missing a cornerback, safety, defensive lineman, edge rusher, and a linebacker. So we
how many of
all those?
How many of those would you say are star key players you're missing?
None. Well, Milton Williams was pretty
Milton
good.
Williams was solid.
We'll see what I think the thing is, like, he's a good player, but our D-line depth's insane. Like, I mean, we develop defensive linemen very well we develop all linemen very well over here in Philadelphia, or over there. I'm not there. Anyway, I think the biggest question was the cornerback. There's a guy by the name of Adoree Jackson who's going to be starting this weekend again, and it makes me very, very sad because we're going against Patrick Mahomes, and he could very well take advantage of that. So, to me, that's the biggest hole. I'm sitting up here talking about the Eagles right now, but let's talk about the Packers, right? They're the betting, like you said, betting favorite. I mean, we know why. We saw that defense last night. It's very well the reason they won. But let's talk about this team, right? This offense. Now, this is going to be their bread and butter, right? We know that defense is going to be good. I mean, I don't think it's too out of the realm to say that's a top 5 defense in the NFL right now. Probably top 3, arguably the best. It all comes down to that offense, right? And Jordan Love's been playing pretty well so far this season. We know he hasn't thrown an interception in a regular season game. Mind you, regular season game in the last 9 or 8, 10 games, something like that. But yeah, it's just when you look at the top teams in the conference, I mean, this is a Packers team you talk about the Eagles, who are relatively the same team. This is a Packers team who's relatively the same, and they only really added one key player. And granted, that's Micah Parsons, but I mean, the Eagles played the Packers twice last year, and the Packers did not win a single one of those games. And of course, it's biased, but I mean, just look at Lane Johnson versus Micah Parsons. I would not argue that Micah Parsons moves the needle for the Packers against the Eagles. I don't think that's a guy that is really. I mean, Micah Parsons is good, and his rookie season, I'll give him his credit. He was pretty good against us, but since then, he really has not done much against the Philadelphia Eagles. To warrant any sort of concern that he's now on a new team. He's been a part of pretty good defenses before, and he wasn't that much of a hassle for us. So that's just how I feel with it personally. But if you want to look at it statistically, you want to see, can Jordan Love hold up in big games? That's kind of been the thing so far, right? We all know about Toyotathon and whatnot, but look at his playoff resume. It's very up and down, right? He'll go in and he'll beat the Cowboys, which is upset the Cowboys, I'll say. That was they went into Jerry World and beat them. Yeah, exactly.
And
granted,
they were pretty close to beating those 49ers too.
They were very close, but then you look at it's the two side of it. Then you look at last year's playoff run. Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions and did not have a good game, and they lost in the first round. Again, as the 7th seed, but
who'd they play in that game?
The Super Bowl champs.
They played the Super Bowl champion.
But
Eagles,
still,
so it's a tough one. It
is a tough one, but still, it's the highs and lows of playoff performance. We talk that's what it comes down to with every quarterback. When we talk about how great they are, is how do you play in the postseason? Do you rise? Do you fall? Do you carry your team?
I don't think you can contribute him to be either a rise or a fall. It's 30 years starting quarterback. We know what he did in the series where he went almost to the NFC Championship, and he lost round 1 in, again, I like to say, probably top 3 hardest places to play in football against the eventual Super Bowl champions who blew out the defending Super Bowl champions. So
right.
That team's a really good team that he went up against in a really tough environment. And if I'm not mistaken, for getting that game, the Eagles offense also struggled. It was a struggle for both offenses that game.
It was. You're right.
So it was both good defenses showing up that day.
But
it wasn't like he got blown out either, but he's on the defensive side of the ball. He's on the offensive, but it was not a good showing from either quarterback.
And the last point I kind of want to make too, and granted, this is a new year, and the Packers are 2-0, but last year
Yeah.
Jordan Love lost 6 games, I think it was. 2 of them were to the Vikings, 2 of them were to the Lions, 1 to the Bears, and 1 to the Eagles. So those are all playoff teams besides the Bears. So, and I would argue those are some of the hardest games that he played last season. So,
and this season he's currently 2-0 against those former playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
One of those being the Detroit Lions. Now, one thing I have to question is both games are at home.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how he can do on the road against these playoff teams. So, it'll be interesting to see.
It's just, to me, he has to prove it to me before I can fully buy in.
I understand that.
Now, before we move on, let's talk about the other side, the other offense of the game, the Commanders. Now, is there any reason to worry for their fans, Brooks? I know you said it earlier, but let's talk about Jane Daniels specifically, right? Because everyone knows about the freshman all-star has the sophomore slump. It's like clockwork at this point. So, like, how do we feel about it?
I'm ultimately feeling this. I think he could be due for a sophomore slump a little bit, but I'm going to say something that's a little, not crazy, but a little, okay, Austin Eckler's injury is horrible. We have to start there.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Bill in that backfield, a young legs that has a spurt, who had a good week 1 as well and then got limited touches. Again, I don't wish injury in Austin Eckler and stuff, but I think having a young running back with some speed and some jolt is going to help Jaden Daniels out, particularly in that run game. And they ran decently well against one of the best defensive lines in NFL. They are much better against the pass rush, maybe than against the run,
Remember,
but still
they lost all-pro run stuff for Kenny Clark. Or are you talking about the Giants?
Talking about the Giants.
I thought you were talking about the Packers.
No. It looked pretty good in the run against the Giants. He got less touches, and I was going to say it didn't look like it was still there. They had to do a lot of chasing in the game. So I can't really grade it, but he only got 4 touches, if I'm not mistaken, like 4 or 5 touches. So he's going to get some more volume, which I like. Terry's still coming off that injury, and Debo didn't look horrible. So I think there's still time for this offense to grow, still with a young quarterback. And Jaden Daniels, I think, is still one of the guys that can make plays and be one of the best quarterbacks in the league on his good day. Mm-hmm. So let's see what can happen. I mean, I can look in the future when their next game is. Mm-hmm. I'll check right here. It's against the Raiders at home. Perfect. I think it's a perfect game to have. Another game where you're off a loss. You haven't. Not an easy team, but it's not a hard team to bounce back against.
Right.
I like that game for them.
Well, I think Jaden Daniels is going to slump, but not in the way sort of like C.J. Stroud is. And you and I kind of talked about this earlier, but it's kind of that to the effect of when he came in rookie year and he has this certain play style that takes the NFL by storm, allowed him to play so great and take them to the conference championship. But now that defensive coordinators have had a whole offseason to review and go over and basically look at everything, see what his game is, they're ready for it now, at least at the NFL level. So what I expect for him this season is a slow start, but he's going to gradually get better as he figures out these NFL defenses that are ready for him. So I think that's why you saw a slow offensive start against the Giants, and you saw the struggles against the Packers last night. My only concern about that, if I'm a Commanders fan, is looking at their schedule, right? Like you said, they have Raiders next week at home. That's kind of a breather. Yep. According to you, they have a playoff contender week 4 on the road. They got to go to Atlanta, so that's going to be a challenging game. They're going to.
I think that's honestly one of those games that's a good matchup. Right, I think Atlanta is a team where they rise and they fall. Okay. Atlanta.
We're not talking about the Falcons in week 4, right?
But that's a good match.
I know it is. That's what I'm saying. That's a game they could lose. That's my point.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then after that, they're staying on the road and going to L.A. to play the Chargers. That's another good team.
That's a tough game. Yeah.
Then they have to play at Arrowhead at some point in the season. That's going to be a hard game, probably. That's just a hard place to play. We'll see what the Lions look at like mid-season, but they get to host them. That's somewhere in the middle of the season. They get a freebie in Madrid. That's not fair. Madrid. But they get to go. They have to play the Dolphins. But I mean, if you're not like, this is where I see it. Right? Who are the 2 best teams in the NFC East, in your opinion?
NFC East?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the Eagles and the Commanders.
Right. So, and both have pretty difficult schedules. So, so this really goes for either team. And this is why I'm worried about Jaden Daniels, is if he's off to the slow start. If you lose games that you're not supposed to lose in the beginning of the season because Jaden Daniels might have made a mistake or a slip up or something, it's just hard because, I mean, you look at the back end of their schedule, the Vikings in week 15 in Minnesota. That's going to probably be a hard game.
Yeah,
And
it's going to
remind
be a
you,
playoff matchup, maybe.
yeah, and then in two of their final 3 games of the year against the Eagles.
16 and 18.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's say let me take the mic here. Just quickly before we move on.
And before they play the Vikings, they also have to play the Broncos
At home.
They are at home that time. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this could be a case of one of those teams that is really good against poor teams, but really bad against playoff teams, which concerns me. But we also have to say this: they played. Which right now, I don't agree. We both don't agree, but they played currently the betting favorite for the NFC Championship, which is the Packers, and I would say probably one of the best teams in the league, in the Packers. Right. And they didn't get they never looked to be in the game. I will say they never looked to be in the game, which is a little bit of a concern. But they played at Lambeau to a team which people are going to say is the hottest team in the league right now, who looks the best, just got Parsons. Yeah. So the verdict is still out there for the Washington Commanders.
Right. My point being why I went over their whole schedule like that is if you're trying to win your division and compete for the playoffs or get a better chance at home field advantage in the playoffs, you need to be at least – you got to be neck and neck with the Eagles when it comes time to play them. So like you can't be losing games that you shouldn't lose, right? Because those are hard divisional games that are probably going to be must wins that are late in the season when you're tired, your team's beaten up, you're going to have injuries. So my only point being, and which is why I'm worried about the Commanders, so I have to see how they do, is let's see how they do against the Raiders. I mean, this is a Raiders team that beat an up-and-coming team, or we thought was going to be a good up-and-coming team in the Patriots. So we'll see how they play this week against the Chargers. But, I mean, I don't think we can fully count the Raiders. They're certainly better than they were last year. So that's all I want to say. And then, like you said, then they got to go play in Atlanta, and then they got to play in L.A. against the Chargers. I mean, if they lose 2 of those 3 games, they're going to be in pretty bad shape, I feel like, when they're at least fighting for a playoff contention, when you could easily, depending on how the Lions and Vikings look, have 3 teams come out of the NFC North. Depending on how the Falcons and Buccaneers look, 2 teams come out of that division. And what's the other one? And then the West, I think it's probably just going to be the Rams out of that one, but we'll see. I mean, that's all very up in the air. So,
let's move on to stuff that's up in the air.
Let's get into it, right? Let's start with the 1 o'clock games.
Let's start with this. Week 2 of the NFL. Teams are 0-1, 1-0. 0-1's going against each other, 1-0's against each other, and mixed results going against each other. Just go ahead. Lead us in, Marin.
All right. Let's start over in Tennessee when the Rams fly over to visit the Titans.
Fly, Rams, fly on the road to victory. Give me the spread.
It hurts everyone when you sing that.
Yeah, because they know what song it actually is for. They hate that team. It hurts everyone's ears. So I'm going to take the Rams here. I'm going to say that although Cam Ward did not have statistically the greatest game in the world, but he looked good for the Titans, and it will be his first home game. Some people best team will probably be packed out because it's the first home game for your number 1 overall draft pick. And the offensive line still concerns me. The Rams looked pretty solid in week 1 against the Texans with their defense. I like their defense, and they got a tough victory. That's how good teams kind of that's how great teams differ from the good, winning when it's tough. And I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams to move to 2-0 and continue their NFC West push.
I agree. What's interesting to me, though, is, like we kind of talked about it, Cam Ward looked pretty good from last game. He's going to be good, if not this week, soon. So I'm going to be cheering for the Titans. I think he and Calvin Ridley are going to look a little better than they did last week. I think he and all the receivers might look a little better than they did last week. We'll see. This is a team, or this is a game that you could easily see. I could see the Titans covering, if not upsetting. So that'll be a fun one to watch, especially. But we can move on, going up to the great state of Ohio, to the city of Cleveland, where the Jaguars will be in town. Or not Cleveland, Cincinnati.
I'll say the great city of Cleveland is actually moving this week.
They are moving.
But the Jags are going to Cincinnati. I like the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. We know about Zach Taylor's week 1 and 2 record, 3 wins and like double-digit losses, something crazy.
It's
not
two.
very
It's like 2 wins and 11 losses.
Yeah, it's something crazy. It's not good. Bengals got the win last week. Was it deserved? No, in my opinion. And they snuck away with one. I don't think they sneak away with this one. Duval moves it 2-0.
So, I also think the Jaguars are going to win this game. What concerns me is the Bengals' home opener. They were not at home last game, despite being in Cleveland. But that defense, I mean, this is a defense. We sat here in the offseason and said there's college football defenses that's going to be better than the Bengals. We were wrong, and I'll formally apologize to everyone on that roster. They actually played pretty good defense against the Browns, in my opinion. I thought the Browns could have scored more if they wanted to, but that was just good defense. So I'll give them credit. Bengals offense, Joe Burrow, not a good week 1. Historically, he doesn't have good week 1s or week 2s, so that's why I think the betting choice here is the Jaguars. But yeah, he did not have a good week 1. He and Jamar Chase looked to be a little off the page, or not on the same page. He and T. Higgins looked a little off as well. So, is this going to be an offensive bounce back game, or is this going to be another slow start for the Bengals? Zach Taylor will no longer be employed by the Bengals by the end of this year. Let's move on, flying down to Baltimore, where the Cleveland Browns are going to be playing against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I don't think this game's going to be too hard. This is a Ravens powerhouse who is probably on the roster-wise, top to bottom, the best team in football. Lost a very close game against a good team last week on the road because of their own mistakes. Probably not going to happen again. I see the Ravens beating the crap out of the Browns.
I think it's going to be the revenge game, the revenge tour. Scared for the Browns coming into a divisional game after what happened last week.
You know what? I say they're going to kill the Browns. It's going to be a close game. It's an
It's
NFC
probably
North game.
not John Harbaugh. It will be a close game, but I'm still going to take the Ravens to win.
I am too. It's an NFC North game. It's going to be close, and that Browns defense is good. So we'll see. But this is not exciting. Going up to New Jersey or New York, wherever you want to call it, the Bills are going to be visiting the New York Jets.
The Bills are going to show the Jets what real team is in New York, and that is the Jets. Give me the New York Jets to cover the spread, but give me the Bills to walk away victorious. I think it's going to be another close game for the Bills. I'm saying it. I think Aaron Glenn is going to keep it close again, and they're going to walk away with 0-2 record. But again, is a team that's not expected to make the playoffs. Justin Fields, a quarterback, had a good week last week. The Bills cannot stop two things: the run and the quarterback run. Anything with the run.
The Bills.
The Bills cannot stop anything. I mean, either side actually, but
that's true.
The Bills especially could not stop the run. Justin Fields, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen. I think they're going to run all over him again, but I still think Josh Allen, that offense, is going to do well.
Yeah, this is the freest over I've ever seen. Yeah, like you said, the Bills couldn't stop the run. Granted, that's probably the best backfield in the NFL. There's levels between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and Justin Fields and Breece Hall, but it is still a dangerous duo to be careful for. Other side of the ball, though, the Jets let Aaron Rodgers, who's 40, throw for like 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. What in the hell do they think Josh Allen's going to do next game? Oh, never mind. We're not talking about the next game. So let's move on. Patriots, Dolphins, that's a freebie. Saints, 49ers.
Guys,
normally we would move on
to start
too, but
Aaron hates the Dolphins. There you go.
I don't hate them. They're just not winning.
Yeah. 49ers Saints. Mac Jones stepping in to be starting quarterback. Is this the game the Saints win?
No.
Is this the game the Saints win? Give me the 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers win. Mac Jones is not he's not a scrub for a backup quarterback. He's working with Kyle Shanahan, who has a history of making bad quarterbacks look good, and they're playing one of the worst teams in the league. So, yeah, give me the 49ers. I think Mac Jones is going to be just fine, and he's just going to give the ball to Christian McCaffrey.
Fair.
All right, going down to Jerry World, where the Giants will be taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, before we get into this game, I don't usually do this, but I thought this was hilarious. I was looking at NFL or the EA NFL Madden, like they made a post about the weekend games coming up. Like they simmed all the games, and here were the results. Do you want to know what the sim score for this one was?
The Giants game?
Yeah, the Giants Cowboys.
I'm going to say 41-38.
You were close. Actually, you weren't close. You were just close in the fact that you got one number right. It was 41-13.
Giants?
Yep.
Holy crap.
So everyone
So-
keep that in mind when we're going into this.
Perfect. I think that actually is really good for me to know. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. EA Madden NFL is unrealistic as they try to make the most realistic game every year.
Yeah, it's probably because Russell Wilson's probably like an 81 or something.
Give me Jerry World, dominant supreme, pass attack, Madden 20 song, type shit like that. Give me the Dallas Cowboys.
Their offense, their passing. I mean, their offense all around just looked good. Assuming CeeDee Lamb can catch the ball, we'll see if the sun's in his eyes or not. But actually, it's at 1:00, so that should be good. But this is my key of the game. If Jackson Dart at any point comes in this game, Giants have a chance.
There you go.
So I'm gonna wait for that to happen. If Russell Wilson plays all 4 quarters, then yeah, the Cowboys are winning because Russell Wilson sucks. But moving on to the great city of Detroit, where Ben Johnson is coming home.
Oh, why do I want to pick the Bears?
Because I want to pick them too.
Oh, I want to pick the Bears so bad. Give me the Lions, man. Give me the Lions. They bounce back. They're at home. Tough place to play. Ben Johnson's going to get a lot of boos because I'm on Raw wants that, and they'll do that for them. And the Lions bounce back after struggling in week 1.
Yeah, I think if there's any game Ben Johnson's going to be ready for, it's this one. Give me the Bears. And then this is our last 1:00 game. Seahawks Steelers.
Oh, that is a good one. Seahawks Steelers. I'm going to take the Steelers for a couple reasons. I'm going to take them because, first of all, 1:00 game, West Coast team coming to the East. Second of all, playing in Pittsburgh. Third of all, Steelers always start hot. I'm going to take the Steelers to win this one. TJ Watt, 2+ sacks in this game.
That could probably happen. Yeah, Seahawks did not look good last week. Their defense looked pretty bad, actually, against the 49ers. So, I think I'm going to take the Steelers as well at home. I think Aaron Rodgers looked good. We'll see if he can keep that up. And then I think this will also we'll just see. But let's move on to the 4:00 games. We have the battle of horses, the Broncos and the Colts. And if you start singing, I will mute you.
Sing what?
Don't do it.
Wait, what am I singing?
Okay, all right. He already forgot, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna move on. Broncos Colts.
Broncos Colts. I think Bo Nix is going to come in, and when he comes in, he's going to understand that this is our Colts.
They can't hear you. They cannot hear you. Continue.
Bo Nix and the boys are coming in, and they're going to understand when they're bleeding blue, and this is our team. When we love them for the shoe. They're going to come in there.
I'm going to mute you again.
And they're going to move on, and the Colts are going to fall 1-1. Daniel Jones is not doing what he did last week against this defense, and the only thing he's going to hear is the of the Broncos going off as victors 2-0.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones played probably arguably the worst defense in the league last week. Now he's playing arguably the best.
Yeah, and he's got to understand that.
I'm going to pick the Broncos. If Daniel Jones does the same thing he did this week that he did last week, then we will no longer tolerate any sort of slander or disrespect on his name on this channel. He's the greatest quarterback to ever live behind Tom Brady. He was just being held down by the Giants the entire
Hey,
time.
stop it. We'll
Now,
see. Still a lot of weeks to go.
Let's move on to
This is 4 o'clock,
Glendale,
too.
Arizona, where the Carolina Panthers will be taking on the Arizona Cardinals.
I took the Panthers last week in my dog of the day.
Yes,
They
you
let
did.
me down. I got a scary feeling about this one, though. Give me the Cardinals, but I think the Cardinals are always a team that if they're going to lose, they're going to lose to these type of games where they're big favorites. So, but I still like them. Give me Arizona to win this one against one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah, see, that's where you're wrong. I think last week was just a bad showing. I think this Panthers defense is much better than people think. They've got playmakers all around the field, so I like them going up against this Cardinals offense, who I'm not sold on. So I'll take them. Now, our
Ooh.
last 4 o'clock game
Our last.
is your Super Bowl
Wow.
59 rematch. And I'm going to ask the exact same question that I did last night. It's
What is that?
ticker. It's in the ticker, so we have to. Is this the greatest QB battle of the 2020s?
For everyone watching the show,
I'm going to mute you again real quick. No, I'm just kidding. You go.
for everyone watching the show, this is a very good quarterback matchup between two good teams. Now, when I was really young in elementary school, we had something called Red Ribbon Week, which was not promoting against drugs, right? Unfortunately, Barron wasn't there for those weeks, so he put the ticker to have that question. So let's just move on to the game. And Eagles Chiefs.
No.
Patrick Mahomes is down his top 2 wide receivers. No Xavier Worthy, no Rashee Rice. And the Eagles have a really solid, built-together team. Even in Arrowhead, just like when Nick Sirianni became his biggest hype man, I'm going to take the Eagles to win this game. They're going to fly high. The Chiefs, the headlines, they're going to fall to 0-2.
Yeah, well, everyone's picking the Eagles, so that probably means something stupid's going to happen. But
Touchdown.
let's go back to my earlier point. 2-2 in the last few years, right? 2 of those matchups being in the biggest game of them all.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you argue has a better rivalry? And I'm talking about regular and postseason.
Let's ask my friends over at ChatGPT. Oh, they agree with my answer, actually. Perfect. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
No.
They have created instant classics when it comes to these games. They have created moments in these games that will not be replicated in history.
Right.
And Josh Allen has the lead over him in the regular season. The postseason a little bit different, but
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
still created one of the best memories. Now, if you're gonna make the argument that this is the postseason, I'm gonna take Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow instead. I'm going to take that instead because that is created, again, postseason moments where Patrick Mahomes has been on the opposite side, but it's still pretty neck and neck, actually.
Haven't they only played like one time?
2 times, actually.
So my fault. But yeah, no, I would still argue it would be Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. Just for the sheer fact that when those two go up, you might not get the moments, you might not get the high or the big plays or whatever, or the high scoring games. But again, this is 2 quarterbacks who have met each other in the Super Bowl twice in their career. Probably, well, man, on honestly, it might be another time.
They played in one good Super Bowl. That's it.
They played in one good one, but they met in the Super Bowl.
In the Monday night game where Nick Sirianni was cheerleader, I forgot what even happened in that game. I forgot what even happened in that game.
It was a defensive masterclass.
Yeah, the Eagles won. But if we're talking about the Bills and the Chiefs, Mahomes and Allen, everyone knows the 13-second comeback coming down, winning the game. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that.
But everyone
knows those matchups. Everyone knows Burrowhead versus Patrick Mahomes. Burrowhead. I mean, he literally has the nickname.
No, because I think if you asked 10 people.
Yep.
Who's going to win? If Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes were playing against each other, I think 9 out of 10 people would say Patrick Mahomes is going to win.
Not this year.
I'm talking historically.
So then they would take. But if I ask him about Burrow and Mahomes,
yeah, I think people would say, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to beat him.
Even though it's Joe Burrow has the head-to-head?
They played what, 5 times? Is it
And
not three?
and
Is it not 3-2 for
in the
Patrick
playoffs,
Mahomes?
in the
In
playoffs,
the
it's 1
playoffs,
and
it's 1-1 in the
1 and
playoffs. I
1.
know that.
1
But
and
in the
1.
regular
And,
season,
and
isn't
Josh
it?
Allen has the head-to-head regular season over Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we acting like Patrick Mahomes winning 9 times out of 10?
Because when it matters, who wins?
But we didn't ask my manager. Said if they played each other.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the Bills are playing the Chiefs, would you not expect Patrick Mahomes to win?
Not this year. If you ask me this year, I'm not taking them. I'm taking the Bills.
Before week 1 happened, based on historical games and what we've seen in the past, would you? And again, this is a big game, season opener. Who would you trust more to win, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen?
Season opener, I would take the Bills.
Okay, I would take Patrick Mahomes because
I would take the Bills. It's a regular season game. In the history, you're talking about the historical, a regular season game, Josh Allen has the lead over Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but I'm talking about okay.
You said season opener. You said season opener.
Know. Okay, fine. In the playoff game, then is it reversed?
Yes, because people rise and people fall, and Mahomes is one of the best risers in the playoffs.
And so then you would say in the regular season between Mahomes and Joe Burrow that you would think Joe Burrow wins most of the time in the regular season. You take Patrick Mahomes in the postseason.
I would probably still take Patrick Mahomes, but people would be more close to it. You know what I'm saying?
So this is my point.
So here's my point.
Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. If you ask 10 people, you probably have about even split.
Because are they picking the Eagles win because of Jalen Hurts? Or picking the Eagles win because it's the Eagles team. I'm thinking it's the latter. It's the latter.
Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes. Who's winning? Who's winning?
I'm taking Patrick Mahomes.
All right.
I'm taking Mahomes. I'm taking Mahomes. If we're comparing quarterbacks here. If you're telling me what team would I rather have, the Eagles or the Chiefs, I'm taking the Eagles. If you're telling me what quarterback I'd rather have, Mahomes or Hurts, we shouldn't even be debating.
I'm not saying which one would you rather have. I'm saying which one's going to win when they play each other.
Probably the Eagles would win because of the team.
Yeah, which quarterback?
Okay, but then you're doing exactly what's wrong with the NFL, which is saying it's a quarterback versus quarterback game. It's not a quarterback versus quarterback game.
I know, but what's also the most important position in the entire NFL?
Probably the left tackle, the blind side.
No.
You don't think?
Yeah, I do think you can have
the middle linebacker, the one that controls the entire defense, is the most important position.
Yeah. No. Why are we arguing this? Quarterback is the most important position in the entire football game, and I don't know why you're trying to argue.
You're doing a false equivalency here.
I'm not. Okay. I'm not doing a false equivalency. Okay. No, explain to me how a middle linebacker is a more important.
Barron's asleep the entire episode. When we talk about the Eagles, he starts waking up. So let's have this passion. Let's keep this. Let's keep this energy.
I'm genuinely serious. No, we have time. I'm genuinely serious. What do you think in your mind is a middle? I know you do, but what makes you think a middle linebacker has a more important role in an NFL game than a quarterback?
Because the MLB, right, the middle linebacker has to control the entire defense, has to call exactly what he's saying. And what's harder, defense or offense? Defense is much harder than offense. That is a fact.
I would argue
that is the truth.
I would argue that middle linebackers work much more closely and do not think more freely than a quarterback does. In fact, I think when you're in terms of looking at a defensive or an offensive layout, I think most of that comes from the defensive coordinator who's relaying those audibles into the ear of that middle linebacker.
It stops working, right?
Oh, I do. No, this is all pre-play.
Yeah, but it stops working after a certain amount of time.
I know it does.
But it's not all that.
I know it's not all that, but I'm saying there's more that it takes into reading a defense for a quarterback than it does reading an offense for a middle linebacker.
It's the same thing. The quarterback looks over, they change the play, boom.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying there's more my point being is there's more offensive processing and thinking going into reading a defense than there is reading an offense. And then
everyone's picking Jalen Hurts because he has A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, one of the best offensive lines in the league, one of the best defenses in the league. They're not picking Jalen Hurts because it's Jalen Hurts, bud.
That's fine. I would, because look at Lamar Jackson, who arguably has one of the best roster in the NFL, and he can't win when it matters.
Whoa, who is this guy?
Are you kidding me?
Best roster.
Lamar Jackson?
Best roster in the NFL.
The Ravens?
band for band right now. You would take Saquon over Derrick Henry. You would take
I mean,
AJ
I would,
Brown over
yeah.
Zay Flowers. You would take Devonta Smith over Rashad Bateman. You would take Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson, as we have on recording as well. You would take that
Yes.
offensive line of the Eagles over the offensive line of the Ravens. And you would take that defense of the
I
Philadelphia
don't know why
Eagles.
you're saying me.
You would. So why? How can you even? What I'm saying is, you're trying to make an argument that they have a better roster.
Okay,
you
fine.
wouldn't even agree with
Sorry.
that take.
I'm sorry. No, you're right. Let's go. I would take the Ravens safeties over the Eagles. I would take the Ravens cornerbacks over the
No,
Eagles.
you wouldn't.
Yes,
no,
I
you
would.
wouldn't.
Yes,
no,
I
you
would.
wouldn't.
Yes, I
No,
would.
you would
Outside
take
of
Nate Wiggins over Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean.
as a whole cornerback unit, yes, I would take the Ravens over the Eagles because the
That's
Eagles only have
absurd.
2 good corners. They only have
And
2
how many
good
do the Ravens
ones.
have? How many do the Ravens have?
2.
Name them.
They got Jair Alexander, Nate Wiggins.
Nate Wiggins is not better than Quinyon Mitchell. Jair Alexander is not as good as Quinyon Mitchell. I'm sorry, that is a horrible take.
Regardless, I would take the Ravens. I would take the Ravens. Fine, the Ravens.
You can take the safeties. I'm down to take the safeties.
Ravens secondary as a whole. Is that fine with you?
Sure. And the front seven, who are you taking?
Front 7.
The Eagles. You're taking the Eagles front seven.
I would probably take the Eagles.
Exactly. And then you go to the offense. Tell me what position you are not taking of the Eagles over the Ravens.
There's an argument to be made at running back.
But you would take Saquon.
Okay, I'm not talking about, again, I think this. Let's talk about the average person too, right? What do you think the average person would say?
They would take probably Lamar. Saquon, they'd probably take it over Derrick Henry. They would take A.J. Brown over Zay Flowers.
Spend some more time on NFL Twitter. There's a lot more Derrick Henry people out there than you think.
No shit. But if we're talking about the guy that won 8 Offensive Player of the Year last year, maybe that's the best metric we should go off of, right?
It is, but there's an argument. There's the other counter argument. Oh, he only won that because of his line.
Metric. That's literally the best metric.
Okay, no, it's not. But let's go. Keep going.
The wide receivers, you're taking A.J. Brown.
Yeah,
you're
wide receivers. I'll give that to them. They have
easily.
better wide
The
receivers.
offensive line, you're easily taking the Eagles over the Ravens. Easily.
Easily.
Yes.
Yeah, as a whole, probably. Yeah.
As a whole, yeah.
Yeah, as a whole, probably. I wouldn't. Probably not position to position, but as a whole, yes.
You would take it minimum 3 over 2. There you go.
That's fair.
You would take the receivers. You would take the first. If you went wide receiver 1 versus wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, 3, 4, 4, Eagles would win any of those.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you about receivers.
That's 4 or 5 right there as well. You take running back. Sure, we can call it a coin flip, so we don't have to decide a winner. Quarterback, you probably take Lamar. There you go. You take more Eagles players than you Ravens players. Now, if you go band for band on the defense, you're taking more Eagles players than you are taking Ravens players. Please, let's move to the game, the final 4 o'clock game.
I'm just all right, fine. I
What
don't
are
agree.
we
I'm
arguing
just saying
here? What are we
that's not-
arguing here?
I'm just saying. I think the Ravens have the better roster.
But we just went through that we don't. I feel like LeBron looking at JR right now. Like,
Well, okay. The Ravens. Well, you also forgot tight end, which I would give that to the Ravens.
sure.
And we didn't talk about special teams either. But my point, I'm just saying.
You would take the Ravens special teams over the Eagles special teams?
I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying we didn't talk about it.
Okay.
But my point is,
What are you taking, Harbaugh or Sirianni?
well, I'm definitely taking the one that's. I'm taking Nick Sirianni.
There you go. Thank you.
But again, I feel like you're asking me because I'm biased. I feel
Well,
like if we
Ravens fans want Harbaugh fired. So.
I know that too, but I'm not
So
talking
I
about.
think that's clear cut.
But I'm also not talking about just the coaches. I'm talking about players too. I feel like if you ask someone that wasn't me, you would probably hear, "Oh yeah, I'm going to take Derrick Henry before I take Saquon Barkley." Or
That's good. I'm gonna because again, I do sports media. I'm gonna ask some people. Just ask them.
go for it. Who is the best NFL roster right now, top to bottom, position to position? Because I would argue it's
versus Saquon, but I can ask him that too.
well, yeah, do that too. But like that is an argument to be made. There's probably people out there that would say, "Yeah, I'm going to take Jair Alexander and Nate Wiggins over Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean."
Jair Alexander, good corner, right? But he's on his last legs,
That is
and his
also
legs, I don't think are there. So,
but okay, yes, we can talk about the game. We already talked about the Eagles game. Let's move on. All right, which is Monday Night Football. What is it? Oh yeah, it's Vikings and Falcons, right? Or is it Texans Falcons?
Vikings, Falcons in Minnesota. It hurts me.
Yeah, we all know.
I'm taking my Falcons. I have to.
God, yeah.
Darnell Mooney is back. We finally have a wide receiver too. Penix has another option to throw to. Okay. And I like what we can do here. I like it. Even when we had this game scheduled, I said this is a game where we're going to be an underdog, and I think we can win it. So I'll take that.
All right. I mean, I think I could see either team winning this game. I mean, the Falcons looked pretty good against the Buccaneers last week, so it's not ridiculous to say that they can beat the Vikings. But home opener, coming off that last-minute win, I think the vibes are going to be high up in Minnesota. I'll take the Vikings. Now, this is when the Texans play. Monday night. Buccaneers are going to Houston. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Buccaneers are going to beat them pretty
I got the Texans in this one. Back at home, C.J. Stroud. They're playing their home opener. I think he might have a little bit of a change here. I don't think that Buccaneers defense is all that solid. And the Texans defense looked pretty good last week.
Yeah, except the problem is they have a bottom 5 offensive line, so...
Correct, they do. But
have you seen some of the clips from the Rams game? I think their right guard has special needs. I'm just gonna say that. I mean, sorry, apologize.
Let's keep it at that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. There's like 3 blocks that you needed to pick up on. Anyway, Chargers Raiders. This is gonna be a good game, I think.
Give me the Chargers in that one.
I think they're gonna win too.
Yeah, I don't think the Raiders are gonna start 2-0. Give me the Chargers in that one.
They did last year.
I don't think they're going to start 2-0. Give me the Chargers.
I mean, they're a better team last year. Geno Smith did not look that bad.
Give me the Chargers in that one.
You don't like the Ashton Genty train?
He didn't have a great game. Ashton Genty had more yards after contact than yards in the game because he got hit so much behind the line. I think that's going to continue.
Yeah.
Give me the Chargers.
But that's the thing though. If you watched him play though, if he can spring a run, he's good. I mean, he can break tackles, he can run through contact. Like the only reason his stat line wasn't worse is because he would get hit in the backfield, break off 3 tackles, and then gain 2 yards. So, I also think the Chargers are gonna win, but we'll see what happens. Brock Bowers and they were using what was the other guy's name from Georgia?
Michael Mayer.
Yeah, Michael Mayer. He was getting
Notre Dame, by the way.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
I thought he was Georgia too.
Notre Dame.
With 2 Georgia tight ends. All right,
my bad. They picked him in the second round the year before Brock Bowers.
Oh, my bad. Well, I know that he was drafted the year before, but I thought he was also in Georgia because they had 2 Georgia tight ends.
Oh, Notre Dame. All right. Is it time for the greatest show of all time? Mm-hmm. Well, the greatest segment on the greatest show of all time. Mm-hmm. Ringing the bells. Dog of the day.
We kind of agreed last night.
And we're gonna keep this agreement. Oh, we have to hype this up a little bit. This is the first ever truce.
It's not a truce, it's a ban.
Dog of the day.
Truce sounds too nice. It's a ban. For whatever reason, the Miami Dolphins are minus money right now, meaning their opponent, the New England Patriots, are at plus 1.5. Due to the Dolphins probably being the worst team I've ever seen play football, we are banning that line because it's too free, and it's just a free 1.5.
If the Dolphins win that game, the next episode will be the funniest thing ever.
I'm talking all this shit about them, and they're gonna like blow the Patriots out of this race. So. But I don't believe in them.
Go on, son.
No, you go first.
Oh.
Because you're still in last place, technically.
It's 0-0, by the way. Calm it down.
What does history say?
Nobody cares about history. It's a new season.
History.
Your team doesn't even care about history. They didn't even watch their own ceremony. All right? We're not doing this history.
What'd you say?
Your team didn't even watch their own ceremony. So they don't care about history. No one cares.
That's not the same team. That's a new team. That wasn't the team that won. This
is a new Brooks. I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 3.5. Duval 2-0. They go in against Zach Taylor, one of the worst coaches in the first 2 weeks, and the Bengals looked rough against the Browns. The Browns. Give me Duval to move to 2-0. One of the surprising teams to move to 2-0.
So I know we started this segment talking about history, and you said you wanted to say history's dumb, but I argue history is the most important thing to humanity, because without history we can't learn from our mistakes. Like if we look at the history of our pick selection, both of us had a bad pick last week. You picked the Panthers, I picked the Browns, and they didn't go our way. But I'm going to keep rocking with history, Brooks, because historically this matchup goes one way, and I'm taking the Carolina Panthers to upset the Arizona Cardinals. This is like I said earlier, this is a defense I think is much better than what we saw last week against the Jaguars. This is a Bryce Young that I think is determined to prove himself this year. I think everyone around him, and him included, knows that this is probably it, and you got to make a good showing. I like what he's got on either side of the ball. Chuba Hubbard in the middle, and I think this is an opponent at their level, if not worse, that they can kind of gain some confidence with. So I like the Carolina Panthers to go in and beat the Cardinals. I also think Black Ops 7's coming out pretty soon, so that's also something to think about.
When does it drop?
I don't know, but I think the beta is coming out pretty soon, at least. And if you can play a beta, that's gaming.
It comes out November 14th. The beta comes out October 2nd. So it's not here yet. It comes in a couple weeks.
Well, maybe
so Kyler Murray is focused. He's ready to go.
No, he's distracted. He's getting excited.
Not yet. So
let's honestly talk about it. And since Kyler Murray's coming to the league, there's been like 2 seasons that a Call of Duty has not come out, and those are probably the 2 best seasons of his career.
Everyone knows this. Yes,
I know. So I'm just saying he's just not gonna have a good year.
Let's speak about a medium that matters before we go off the air right now. My Survivor.
Oh God.
All right. That will be another episode of Nothing Agreed. Who do y'all got in week 2, and what's y'all's upset? Are the Packers the best team in the NFC? Let us know down in the comments. Thank you so much for listening, and peace.